So tell me, what's your breaking point? The moment you stop saying, maybe they'll change, and you start asking, what the hell am I doing here? We all been there, right? But the real question is, how do you know when it's time to walk away? Buckle up, Annie, because today we're getting real about toxic relationships. That's right. So when exactly do we stop making excuses for toxic behavior in the name of love?
Namaste, namaste, my baby. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Hello Vibes Me Elevation Podcast. But this ain't just any part of the show. Oh no, you have officially stepped into the thought-provoking topic with Crystal, where things get real like, I need a glass of wine or a journal for this kind of real. This is where we ask the hard questions, we tackle the tough topics, and sometimes maybe throw a little shade, but it's all in the name of growth, of course. Think of it like that late night conversation with your best friend, but with a little more structure and way fewer judgmental looks. So buckle up, guys, because today we're diving into something that's bound to stir the pot. You might walk away inspired, or you might need a snack to process it all. Either way, you'll leave with something to talk about. And hey, remember, everything I say is coming from love. Just sprinkle with a little truth serum. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Let's get into this segment of thought-provoking talk with Crystal. Today is our first episode of this thought-provoking segment, and it is entitled, When to Walk Away from a Toxic Relationship. That's right, we're getting down and dirty. So we're going to talk about why we stay in toxic relationships. We're going to recognize the red flags, and then we're going to talk about how to walk away and rebuild your self-worth. I got a tip for today, and we're going to conclude it with a mantra. Yeah, we're going to work this out. We're going to get this together. Stay with me. No worries. We're going to figure this out. Alright, guys, it's important to mention before I get into anything that this segment, Thought-Provoking Talk with Crystal, the topics are based off of the months according to astrology. Because it's Libra season, we're focused on relationships this month. Alright, so I would like to start off with thoughts of the day. This is an opening quote. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Quoted by Tony Gaskin. Again, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. My guy, Tony Gaskin. I want you guys to keep this in mind throughout today's episode, because we're going to break down why it is so hard to walk away even when you know it's the right thing to do. All right, so let's start with the main topic, why we stay in toxic relationships. Why do we? Let's be real. See, many of us, we have stayed in these relationships long after they ran their course, and we know this. And if I'm being honest, a lot of these reasons are rooted in fear. Whether it's the fear of being alone, starting over, or just feeling plain like we ain't good enough. Like we don't deserve better. This fear, this will keep us stuck. And if you know, you know. I'm sure a lot of us have been there. And if we haven't been there, we're probably there right now. See, this is what I always tell anybody I'm coaching, anybody I'm speaking with. Our upbringing plays a massive role in anything we do, especially here when dealing with relationships. Because this is where you're taught how to love. And however you've been loved, however you was given love, and however love was shown to you, that's what you're going to emanate. Or that's what you're going to mirror. So if you grew up in a home where love was conditional or your parents were emotionally unavailable, that sets the tone. Either way, sons without healthy bonds with their mothers or daughters with strained relationships with their fathers. These dynamics, they shape us, y'all. We connect with partners later on in life with that concept. So then we tend to imitate what feels familiar, even when that familiar air is toxic. I apologize. Don't judge me. See, I read a long time ago in the book. I was young, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It said, the way a man treats his mother is the way he treats his partner. And when I look back at the relationships I was in, that couldn't have been more right. And then at some point, you have to take accountability for being in a relationship that doesn't align with you. Because although we are taught how to love just by watching the people around us when we grow up, at some point we understand life and we're capable of changing. We're capable of taking control and being the author in our life as opposed to being a character. You know, you can, but if you think about it, blaming someone for loving you wrong is almost common. But in reality, that person is loving you the best way they know how. And it's not up to them to show you how to love, how you need to be loved. It's up to you to say, hey, look, this is not what it is. I don't want to be loved like this. And they still need time to grow. They may never grow. But always remember, if you're in a relationship where your definition of love is not aligned with the love that you're receiving, then you might want to take a look back at the family history, a long look at the family history. And, you be the judge after that. You decide if it's worth fixing. And I'm going to just give you a quick tip up front. You can't change anybody that doesn't want to be changed. I promise you that. I don't care how good of a person you are, what you're feeding this person, what you're giving this person. If they're not ready to change and they understand love to their ability, then that's what you're going to get. Okay? So that's the take on being in toxic relationships. And when we are loved like this, a lot of times, not a lot of times, it's not even just fear that keeps us there. It's not understanding what love really is. Or, again, not thinking that we're worthy of the love that we've deserved. You look around and you just like, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be. You grew up seeing physical abuse. You think it's okay to be hit. You grow up with a cold parent, distant. You think it's okay. You haven't seen anything different, or you haven't put yourself out there to see it, or you haven't opened your eyes to it. You're just there, and maybe you're hoping for change. But baby, hope is a long way from the front door. I'm just saying, and I'm a very optimistic person, but I know people. So if you're in this toxic relationship and you're hoping for change, my hope for you is that you hope for something completely different, and that is the strength to open up your eyes and see what it really is. See it for what it is. Not for what you wish it to be, not for what you need it to be, but see it for what it is. And then you start asking yourself the hard questions. Now we're going to talk about recognizing some red flags. One more thing before we get into the next segment. I want to say, if you are dating out of fear out of being broken, out of fearing a broken heart, you are going to attract these type of relationships to you, because what you put out in the universe is what you get back. Whether you're doing it consciously or not, it is still an intention. You're intentionally feeling this way. Unbeknownst to you, you're going to attract that. You think, okay, I'm in this relationship now, and I don't want to be hurt, and that's what you're going to attract. And I'm only speaking from a place that I've been before. Trust me, I grew up seeing abuse. My first relationship from the time I was 14 to 18 was very abusive. I probably wore my black eyes like an accessory, and I thought it was okay. The people around me thought I was crazy, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. Then when I opened up my eyes and said, okay, this ain't the way to go, I went from being in my first relationship to being in a marriage. That was even worse. I put up with a lot of stuff. I mean, constantly cheating, fighting physically. It was so much, and I thought it was okay. It took me a while to recognize, hold up, this is not what love is supposed to look like for me. And I'm not saying after my marriage, all my relationship was perfect. But I knew abuse wasn't okay. And for a long time, I thought it was, honestly. And I had to explain this to my son one time. He didn't understand. A friend of his, every time she would get into this guy she was with, he would put his hands on her and they would get her away from him, and she would go back to him. He just didn't understand, like, the guy is gone. Why are you letting him back in? And I had to explain to him that sometimes that's all some people know. And a lot of times people say, oh, well, why did you stay? And it's okay that they don't understand. If you really think about it, you don't understand why you're staying. So how can you expect them to? The only thing you can do is forgive the ignorance of them, not ignorant in a bad way. Ignorant is something when you don't know something. And if you've never been in that type of relationship, then you don't understand why somebody might stay. And it's very hard to explain this to somebody. And when I was explaining to my son, he tried to understand the best way he could. But I was definitely a victim of those circumstances. So again, I'm not saying anything that I don't know or haven't been through. Okay, now we can move on to the next segment. All right, guys, this is segment 2, recognizing the red flags. So, my friends, how do you know when you're in a toxic relationship? Well, I tell you what, the signs are often there, but we more often than not ignore them. So let's just go into a little bit of detail here. If your partner is making you question your reality, belittling your feelings, or making you feel like you're walking on eggshells, that's toxic. Okay? Your feelings are valid. You should be able to express them, and you shouldn't feel the need to watch what you say, or it might trigger something that's not healthy. Red flag is when maybe there's a disagreement and hands are thrown, and then it's sorry, and then hands are thrown again, and then it's sorry. That's toxic. If a person is constantly cheating, that's toxic. Okay, because if they're going to constantly cheat, they might as well just go on about it with, what's the point? What's the point in being in a relationship that a person's constantly stepping out on, especially if it's not something you guys discussed or talked about. What's the point of being in a relationship if you can't express yourself without somebody exploding? If somebody is possessive, if they're telling you how to dress, how to think, if they're not allowing you to be yourself, if you're not yourself, if you don't feel like yourself, that's toxic. Now, it's a difference of not feeling like yourself because of depression or something. I'm talking about not feeling like yourself because of this relationship. If this relationship has changed you for the worse, it's toxic. If a person is moving you away from your friends and family and everything you love, watch that. That's a red flag. It's a red flag when someone loses their temper instantly. Okay? A healthy relationship is built on trust, respect, and safety. And if you catch yourself constantly explaining away their behaviors to someone or their thinking, it'll get better if I try harder. That's a signal that something isn't right. It's also crucial to separate acknowledging your trauma from letting it control your future. So this goes back to the childhood. Yes, it shapes us, but the healing, it requires taking accountability. So what you don't want to do is blame, that's a big word, blame the way you love on your childhood. You want to acknowledge, okay, this is why I do this. And the point of acknowledging it is to change it. It's not to say, well, I love like this because I seen such and such, so this is what I know. No, that's, at this point, it's excuses, because if you're aware of it, then it can be changed. Now, it's different if you're not aware of it, but if you're aware of it, then you start making steps to change it. And this requires, again, taking accountability and healing. At some point, we need to see the world with our own eyes, not the ones our parents gave us. It's just like Santa Claus. At some point, majority of us, our parents told us about Santa Claus. But when you got older and you seen things in your own eyes, you realized there was not one. Same thing. It's like being 30, 40 years old and saying, it is a Santa Claus. My parents told me, and that's why I believe it. No, at this point, you don't believe it. And if you do, that's fine. I ain't trying to, that's between you and Santa. But, for the most of us, at some point we realized that Santa Claus wasn't real. So it's very important to not blame. See, because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to point out to you where it's coming from, why you're in this relationship or why you're accepting this. But at the same time, I need you to acknowledge it in order to change it. I don't want to push you in a corner where you're the victim. I'm all about writing your own story, being a hero in your own story. Not the damsel in distress. We cutting that out right there. We're nobody's damsel in distress. We're nobody's victim. You get that fucking book, you get that pen and paper, and you write yourself the fucking hero. That's it. And you do that by healing, taking accountability, and most definitely loving yourself. Because I could promise you this, and I promise you, when you start to really love yourself, you will feel the difference. That bit of peace, you won't let anyone break it. No love, no none of that. When you start to love yourself, it's a different type of value. So you know exactly what you want. And I'm not talking about financial or nothing. I'm talking about dealing with love and the way you're being treated. That money stuff, the financial is very important in relationships. I get it, but we're not talking about it. We're not even there yet. Because somebody can have all the money in the world and be in the worst relationship ever. We're talking about getting that part together first, the healing part. And I know that for some people this sounds scary, and this may be a fear for some people, being alone. But I promise you, if you take some time alone, especially if you're the type of person that keeps on attracting toxic relationships, I'm talking to you if this is you. until you heal yourself, it's going to be a repeated cycle. Different types of person, same type. Different people, same type. If you're a person that says, why do I keep getting these same type of relationships? Then I'm talking to you. You have to go back and heal. You have to go back to your childhood. You have to figure out where you were hurting. You have to possibly forgive the people that hurt you. And I'll do an episode on that. And even if you cannot forgive right now, that's okay. You just have to acknowledge your pain, where it came from. Acknowledge the love or the lack of. And whatever you didn't get, give it to yourself. That's okay. Now you can do that now. You couldn't do that when you were a kid, but you can do that now today. And once that happens, you will see the difference. And I know, because I was in a relationship with somebody that I love. And you can walk away from somebody you love. I did love him. But I tell you, those arguments, that gaslighting, I know when somebody gaslighting me. That's one thing. I have my boundaries, and I have things that I just will not go for. And gaslighting me is one of them. We can work out a lot of things, but that gaslighting I cannot do. So if I cannot have a conversation with you without you feeling attacked, communication is my thing. So if we cannot communicate, then we can't even go farther. There's nothing else to talk about. You know, I don't, that's where I am. I know my boundaries and what I want. So my peace was more important. I don't want to get on the phone and argue I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is, I've communicated this to you. We've had discussions. And I cannot force change on you. I can tell you what it is that's bothering me and hope that you care enough to work on it, or at least let me know. But if we cannot do this, we cannot go further. So I made my choice to keep my peace and walk away. And I was okay. I'm fine today. I'm still breathing. And he is too. We're not combined. We're not entwined. And that's fine. He wasn't ready for me, and I wasn't ready for that. That's okay, guys. You can do that. And once you find that peace and you start to love you, I know everybody will say, I love myself. If you're in a toxic relationship or you're around people treating you bad, then you might want to rethink that. Because when you love yourself, you won't settle for anything less. You won't settle for anybody mistreat you. I don't care who it is. You're not going for it. And you could take that one to the bank and cash it in. It's for sure. That's for sure go right there. All right, guys, we're going to move to the third segment. And this is where we talk about how to walk away and rebuild your self-worth. Let's talk about it. Oh yeah, guys. And since we are here, before we dive back in, let's do a quick message from Creations by Us. Hey there, gorgeous souls. Are you ready to elevate your vibe and add a little spark to your life? So whether you're looking to shine with some one-of-a-kind handmade earrings, dive into some astrology, or share your own empowering story on the podcast, Creations by Us got you covered, baby. So just join the Positive Vibe Only movement. Go ahead and grab you some of the unique earrings at www.inspiredvibrations.com. Handmade by me, yours truly, with the intention to raise your vibrations. And while you're there, go ahead and sign up to be a guest on the Hello Vibes Me Elevation podcast. We're waiting for you. And on this podcast, we share empowerment stories. We do a little humor. And we raise vibrations. Oh, wait. And did I mention the promotions? They're literally out of this world. Go check out astrology promotions. Okay, what you waiting for? Go ahead. www.inspiredvibrations.com. Explore your vibe and let's raise those frequencies together, because you deserve to shine as bright as you feel. And this message is brought to you from Creations by Us. So how'd y'all like my little commercial? I don't need no sponsor. I'm my own sponsor. No, just joking. I thought that was kind of funny though. So this is how to walk away and rebuild your self-worth, guys. This is the part we've been waiting for. Now let's talk about the hardest part, and that is walking away from a toxic relationship. It is, especially then when that's what you're used to. But you know when it's time to leave. You know it's time to leave when you start saying to yourself, what the fuck am I doing? Or why the fuck am I so unhappy? Or I deserve better. And even if you don't start to say them things, you start to feel something. Something just don't feel right. It kind of feels like you could be better or you could do better. You know it's time to leave when it starts to cost you your peace, your mental health, your sense of self. And I promise you, you can't pour from an empty cup, baby. And stand in a toxic relationship that will drain you way more than you realize. People around you will notice, you know. They'll say, oh, you ain't the same person. When you start hearing stuff like that, and you know it's not due to depression and things like that, you know it's your partner. Come on, like, everybody deserves to be happy. That is a feeling. And you definitely deserve to be happy in a relationship. But I'm going to tell you, I know walking away isn't easy. It is not a one-time decision. I get that. Like I said, I'm speaking from a place where I have been there before. You know, I didn't just read no textbook and said, just tell them to walk away. It's easy. Or just walk away. I know it's not easy. No, I know it's not easy. When I tell you, I went through the most with my husband. And when I look back at who he was raised by, no pun intended, and I'm just being honest, there was no way I could have expected anything different. No way. So I had to make a decision. Now, ask me if there was forgiveness involved. Fuck yeah, it was. For everybody. Because in reality, guys, the real truth is, the shit that we don't want to admit, I did not have to stay. At all. You know, I didn't love myself enough. Period. Now, should not taking anything from him, but it is not my job to judge him. It is not my job to, hey, you could have done better. That is up to him to one day put it all together and say, you know what, I was wrong, or, I could be better. That's up to him. It's not my job to fix him or fix what he done that's in the past. What it did do was help me grow, and I'm able to sit here and talk to you guys, someone else who's possibly in the same predicament. And what I do know is, when you do finally walk away, when you do finally get the strength to walk away, and Lord knows, I hope that this podcast is the basis of it. I hope this is the start. And you start to work on yourself, that forgiveness will come, especially when you start to be accountable. Again, I'm not saying that their behavior is right. I'm not saying that their behavior, I'm not saying anything about their behavior. All I could say is I wasn't loved the way I should have been. And I didn't give them no excuse because of their childhood, but I actually looked at it and said, oh, what the fuck was I expecting? Now, a lot of times people get it early. They grow up in a fucked up environment where they wasn't loved correctly, and they get it immediately. I don't want to love like that. I'm learning to love like this. But everybody doesn't. More people don't than do. It's easier to be drawn to something negative than it is to be pulled up to something positive. Trust that. But it's possible. And I know it because I did it. It's about setting boundaries, guys, and sticking to them, even when it's tough. The tough shit is the shit that counts at the end. If everything is easy, we haven't learned anything. That's what I was explaining to one of my clients when I did her astrology chart. It's a lot. It was a lot of challenges, aspects in her chart, and I was like, don't panic. If you had all easy aspects, then you would lack motivation and everything else. I have so much, and I know if you don't know about astrology, I have so many squares in my chart. So many challenges and things like that. But I'm not. I'm breaking down them obstacles, and if I could do it, anybody can do it. We all could do it. Again, it's about setting boundaries and sticking to them, even when it's tough. That's when you need to do it the most. It's a strength that comes with that when you're able to pull that strength out your ass and say, hey, this is it. Fuck you, fuck this, fuck y'all, I'm out. You know what I mean? It's about reminding yourself that your worth is not negotiable at all, no matter how lonely it feels at first. Once you start to love yourself and you start to enjoy your own company, in like one of my episodes, I was talking about passion. You find your passion when you're alone. A lot of the times when you lost your passion and your purpose, you find that shit when you're by yourself. Sometimes you need to isolate, not for good, but just enough to value and respect yourself. Because if you don't, nobody else will. I promise. People, the way you treat yourself, people, why would they treat you any better unless it's a person, a genuine, person that gets it. They know you're not treating yourself right, so they're not going to mock or mirror what you do. They're going to value you and love you better until you understand how it feels to be loved. But that shit is far and few in between. You barely gonna find that because so many people are lost. And if that's the energy you're giving out, it's the blind leading the blind. You're expecting somebody to pour genuine, pure love into you out of a broken spigot. You're asking for too much. Your expectations is too high. You have to raise your vibration. The higher your frequency is, those are the type of people you're going to attract, the people based off of your frequency. And if you attract people that are toxic and you feel like your vibration is raised, you don't surround yourself with the people, and that's how you know the difference. Because you decide who's going to be in your life. And if you can't do it alone, that's fine. Get a support system. And sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes we're so broken that we end up having nothing and nobody. I believe what I'm going to do here in the next week, just stay tuned, subscribe. I will create I don't know if I want it to be private, because I want people to be able to join a group. I want it to be for everybody, but I also want it to be where people feel comfortable. So maybe like I'll create a group and some type of way where you can message or chat me personally if you need some support, if you need someone to talk to. I will keep you guys updated on one of the episodes, either the episode or maybe if you subscribe, just subscribe, and I will definitely have it in a newsletter or something when I get that part together. I'm doing like a lot right now, not too much, but a lot. So I can't promise you when I'm gonna get it done, but I was already thinking about doing that anyway because I'm going to start my coaching practice up again. I had to stop for a minute because I was trying to figure a lot of things out, but at the beginning of the year, so I'll have to have that in place anyway. Yeah, I want to make myself available for people who feel like they don't have a support system. I don't want to talk about the issue, offer half of a solution, So, anyways, if you have to reach out to a counselor, like they have free counselors, especially like if you get Medicaid or something like that, a best friend, find a Facebook group for the moment. If you're really, really in need, I do have an email address, and you can email me, because I know that this is not easy, and I know walking away does take strength. But healing does take a community. Okay, so you can do this. You can do this, guys. I promise you. All it takes is strapping them boots up and walking out. Now, I do know some toxic relationships are deadly, I'll say. Like in these past just in this past year or two, I've seen so many people be unalived for leaving a relationship. So if you're in a situation where you're being threatened if you leave, then do not take these steps. We'll figure something else out. Seriously, if you're in this type of situation and you need someone to talk to, you can email me for sure for that reason. I don't want to say what I would do because, I just know like a lot of times, you get the papers in place, and if somebody wants you, then papers don't mean anything, Well, I'm going to say what I would do. Especially if, you're not a felon. I would go to a shooting range. This is me. I'm not suggesting you do it. I would go to a shooting range, get me something registered. And, I would make sure that it was very clear that my life is being threatened. And, if it come down to a situation where it's me or you, I don't really need to finish that. But just, all I'm saying is protect yourself, guys. Because nobody can protect you better than you can. I've seen that just watching all these crimes, like, whoa, I'm hoping this ain't steer nobody the wrong way. Again, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. My freedom of speech says I could speak, so I'm just saying what I would do. Okay? So, guys, I'm hoping that we have an understanding of today's topic, when to walk away from a toxic relationship. And I am going to share a tip of the day.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here's the tip for today. All right, guys. So, when you are unsure whether to stay or walk away, try this. Picture your life 5 years from now. Come on. And if nothing changes, then, it's probably time to walk away. And while you're picturing your life, see if you see happiness, peace, growth, or is it exhaustion, stress, and sadness? And my friend, the answer might be exactly what you need to hear. Remember, it's about asking yourself the hard questions and waiting for the answers. Whether you like it or not, your higher self knows. See, that's what I like about coaching. Coaching is a little different from counseling and a psychiatrist. See, with coaching, we understand, I understand, that we all have the answers to every single problem that exists within us. Our higher self got the answers. We understand. We just don't know that we understand. So what the coach does is guide you to your understanding. Then you get epiphany. And really, I probably knew it the moment you talked to me. But if you didn't get that epiphany, if you didn't get it, then it doesn't matter. Me telling you isn't going to help you. I have to guide you there. I may get it up front, I may not. But the point is, you got the answers to your own questions. So if you ask yourself the hard questions, just wait for the answer. And I always tell my kids and the people I talk to, if you keep on asking questions, the answers will come. All right, so how many of you guys remembered the quote of the day? I'll remind you, because I want you to take this with you for the rest of the day. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Remember that. You teach people how to treat you. And that, my friend, that's some real shit. So I know this topic hit home for a lot of people. So guys, I really do want to hear from you. Like, have you ever stayed in a toxic relationship longer than you should have? If not, how easy was it for you to get up out of there fast? If so, what made you finally walk away? Are you still trying to figure it out? What's holding you back? Are you trying to figure if you have a toxic relationship or not? If so, did this episode help in any way? Either way, guys, let's talk about it. Reach out to me on social media or leave a comment. Your story might be exactly what somebody else needs to hear. As a matter of fact, I did start a Facebook group. It's called Positive Vibes Only. I started, but I haven't really gotten it yet. No invites or anything like that, because I'm still fixing it and getting it together. So maybe I'll just go ahead and use that one. But for the meantime, you can leave a comment here. I believe my email should be in the link. If not, raisinvibes@mail.com. And again, it's raisinvibes@mail.com. And you might just want to put in the subject, the title of the episode. Okay? And with that being said, guys, I'm going to thank you so much for tuning in today. And again, if this episode resonated with you, I want you to share it with someone who might need this as a reminder. And guys, don't forget to check out Creations by Us. That is the one-stop spiritual shop. I make all type of jewelry, handmade jewelry with intentional raised vibration. If it's a piece of jewelry, I can make it. All right, I call myself the MacGyver of jewelry. And if I don't know how to make it, I will figure it out. I will not stop until I get it. But for right now, it's earrings. I have some bracelets. I believe that's in my TikTok shop. They're on sale. They're the jade, natural gemstone jade beaded bracelets, charms. I think I got like 2 chakra bracelets there. But that will be on my TikTok shop. And my TikTok name is Conscious is a Vibe. That link should be in my bio. My website, again, is www.inspiredvibrations.com. Beautiful, unique, handmade jewelry, one of a kind. One thing for sure is nobody else will have it but you. My brand is anything but normal. Also, take advantage of the astrology promotion I have coming up. Just head over to the website. Creations by Us, Inspired Vibrations, www.inspiredvibrations.com. Until next time, guys, remember, choosing yourself is never the wrong decision. Stay elevated, stay empowered. I'll catch you in the next episode. And here, my friend, is the closing mantra. And remember this: I am worthy. I am enough. Release what no longer serves me, and I make room for peace. Let's say that again. I am worthy. Say it like you mean it. I am worthy. I am enough. I release what no longer serves me, and I make room for peace. All right, my friends, namaste, my baby. Till the next time, remember, protect your energy like the Secret Service protect the president, but not John F. K. And always, always, always remember, your energy is expensive. Be mindful how you spend it. And I'm sending nothing but love and positive vibes. Namaste. Although I hate to depart, guys, I would like to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Vibes Meet Elevation podcast. And that would be Hello, Vibes Meet Elevation podcast. So if today's conversation sparks something inside of you, share it with a friend or leave a review. It would mean the world and it'll help us reach more people just like you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And join me next time as we continue to raise our vibrations, elevate our lives, and embrace the power within. Until then, guys, keep shining, keep growing, and keep elevating. And remember, if you have a story to share, or if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, fill out the form. We'd love to have you. And always, 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 protect your energy like the Secret Service protect the president, but not John F. K. Remember, your energy is expensive and be mindful how you spend it. And I will catch you on the next time.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,